welcome. Odds are you or someone you know is currently going through a divorce or a separation. In America, up to 50% of all marriages end each year in divorce. Hi, I'm Chili, and you're here today with Trisha, Katina, Angie, and Bethany. And you're watching Let's Be Real. On today's show, we'll be talking about relationships, divorce, and separation. So ladies, my question of the day is, what is the main reason for divorce amongst husbands and wives, and why?
Commitment. It's important that you stay as one. I think it's very important in a relationship, valuing each other's opinion. It's very important in a relationship, listening, always having a listening ear to what the other one's is expressing, and taking it at heart and really being considerate about it. So I think that's important.
For me, communication is key.
I agree.
A lot of relationships, marriages, friendships, in general, people think that their partner or their friends or their loved ones, but in this case, their partner, as far as the husband or wife, already knows what they want, what they need. So communication is key in any relationship, for that matter. But in marriages and romantic relationships, you need to communicate what you want, what you need, and the other person does as well, so that there's no stone unturned, that nobody needs to have to wonder,
Right.
does she like roses or does she like chocolate?
Right.
That's the big thing, and that's what brings conflict. I believe in relationships and marriages is communication is not solid, and people assume things, and we all know what that means. When you assume, you make.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel that I should ever have to assume anything, whether it's with the guy that I'm with, or even in my past marriages and relationships. I should never assume anything. I should know, because we should be able to talk and have solid conversations that cover the things, any questions or concerns that we have.
I agree.
Through passion and creativity, we believe the simplest things can become extraordinary. Like our made-from-scratch bubble waffle, paired with our #1 award-winning premium ice cream. The taste is beyond amazing, the customer service is outstanding, and the experience is wonderful. So come taste the excitement that everyone experiences when they visit Funky Calls. And on July 18th, you'll be able to have this same experience in Amory, as we will be opening our second location at 320 North Main Street, in the heart of Amory, Mississippi.
Why do I think marriages end in divorce? Now, I know my answer will not be on, somebody's divorce, but so therefore I did research as to why most marriages end in divorce, and the #1 reason it ends in divorce is lack of communication. Commitment. And then also another reason, the #2 reason marriages end in divorce was infidelity. And then also the #3 reason that marriages end in divorce was too much arguing and too much conflict. But for me, I believe marriages end in divorce is because of people's lack of commitment to God. I don't believe people have a real commitment to God in their marriage vows.
Right, I agree with that.
And so therefore, that's the reason why their marriage ends in divorce. I believe that it's just like any other product. I believe that, first of all, marriage began with God. God created marriage.
Yes.
And so therefore, just like any other product, a product comes with a manual or a guide, and it has rules. And typically, if you go by those rules, if you go by what it tells you, then you will normally end up with what it is that you're supposed to end up with. And so therefore, if people will go by the word of God and what God has told us how a marriage is supposed to go and what it's supposed to be, then I don't see those things that we say that causes our marriage to end. I don't think that those things will cause us to end up in divorce court, because I believe if people will basically take those things to God, if they will basically be patient with God and basically seek God and do the things that we're supposed to do, then those things can truly be worked out. But because people do not truly become committed to God and be patient and wait, then they will basically take the easy route out. and then of course they just basically justify it and end up get a divorce. And so for me, I think people lack a true commitment to God.
I agree with the commitment statement because a lot of people do not even understand the word commitment in today's time. They just don't. But also, I think lust and unrealistic expectations are into play too, because a lot of people get lust and love confused, and they are definitely not the same. And the Bible warns us about lust of the flesh, and you can get caught up in it real fast, real quick, and because someone looks good when you marry them, 5-10 years down the road don't mean they're gonna look like that. We know that, ladies. We know that, looks change. And unrealistic expectations. I think husbands and wives don't really understand what the other one needs and what the foundation of marriage is all about. Unrealistic expectations of what she wants when she comes home from work, unrealistic expectations of what he wants when he comes home from work, and the two, again, you got to talk about it, you got to get it out there and discuss it.
Because communication definitely is foundational, as you said, that God ordained marriage, and we have to know who we are. Number one, more importantly, whose we are. But we have to know our person as well. So it still comes back to communication. All the other reasons, I agree wholeheartedly. They definitely are reasons to end in divorce. But if you can learn to communicate well and to give what you expect versus, if you expect me out of you, vice versa, I should expect you out of me.
Yeah.
Wanted to add that.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I've never been married and I'm young, so I don't really just think about that a lot. But if I did, I would definitely want to follow the principle. Like me, I'm very spiritual, so I love God, and the Bible is the equation to success. There's everything in there that tells you, how to get the most abundance and prosperous life that you can live. And it teaches you all about coming together as one and, picking the right partner and picking the right people to have around you. I think that has a lot to do with it too. The environment and, the people that you choose to listen to take advice from, that has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
Sometimes, the leading cause of marriages and divorces is also because we have extra people that's instigators.
Oh, wow.
And the relationships, they got their own opinion, we got our own opinion, and when all of that comes in your household, it causes confusion because now you're listening to outsiders.
Okay.
And outsiders are not supposed to be in there. Your marriage is supposed to be centered around God and what He's expecting from us. So other people's coming inside of marriage it's looking for destruction.
Should married couples hang out with single people? So what do y'all think about that?
Well, to be honest, if we had to do yes or no, I would say yes. But to go along with that yes, I would say go back to the Bible because that's what I know. The Bible says, know them that labor among you. So you know your friends, whether they're single or married. And so the first thing is to know who your friends are, the people, that you have up close and personal. But also be really mindful of any red flags that might appear.
Yes.
So should married couples hang out with single people? Yes, if that works for you. Right. Yes, if you trust, and you are comfortable with it. But if there's someone that like you said, bringing other people in and their opinions and someone's out to sabotage because jealousy, hatred, all of these things play in factor. We are women, so we know that you name it, we deal with it or we've dealt with it. We dish it or we take it. And so with that being said, you can be friends and hang out with anyone. Right. As long as it's, something conducive to your life and who you are and your lifestyle and what you do. But when it comes to marriages and relationships, be very careful and be mindful that you don't want to set yourself up or your marriage or your relationship for failure. Right. But definitely, I would not want to tell my single friends, hey, I'm married now, so hey, y'all got to go, just because they're single and not married.
Yeah.
Because there are instances where you can invite a friend over, and kind of like a lot of us, I don't know if anybody's been hooked up with someone or introduced to a friend of a friend or a friend of a family or a friend of a coworker. So to say, my answer would be yes. If what are my thoughts on single people hanging out with married couples?
Yes, and also I say yes to that too, because now just sitting back and listening, you know what I'm saying, that could be a good thing. Your single friends can want and desire what they see that you and your partner bring to the table, whether it's, spiritually or naturally, So it's yay and nay in some words, because like she said, once again, you got to know who you are at all times. You got to know what you are able to accept and you're willing to accept.
Yeah.
So
I just think they should always pay attention to boundaries, when it comes to when it comes to stepping out with single people, because they get to do a lot of different things,
right.
So they don't have the same expectations as a married person was. I think they should just pay very, very close attention to the things that they're doing and if it is respectable to your partner or not.
Right. And I'll just go off of what you're saying, because the Bible does say, how can two walk together except they agree? And so I totally agree with that. And I'll also say, when it comes to married and single mingling, you just ask yourself, what's the agenda? Where we're going. You know what I'm saying?
Where we're hanging.
But I don't see it being a problem if there is a married couple going to the movies and they have a single friend that wants to go. I see no problem with that whatsoever. Or even going out to eat. I don't see any problem with that. Now, would a married couple take a single friend to a marriage retreat? Of course not. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it comes down to, where you're going, what's the agenda, what's going on. But and then also I think, like you said, the type of people it is, you're gonna know the people that you're around, because if you have a single friend who wants to go to the bar and of course they're trying to be hooked up and you're already married, that probably won't work or whatever. But you know the people that you're hanging with. And so as long as you know that, then of course you're going to basically go according to what you know. But I do believe it can happen, and I don't think it will be an issue as long as you know yourself.
Yeah.
Well, if I said no, I would have no one to hang out with. Because all my friends are basically female, and they're all single right now in their life and in their journey. So, but like Katina's done said, most of it, I know my circle.
Yeah.
I know these women. I know they're gonna support my marriage. They're gonna support me. They're gonna uplift me in prayer. They're gonna do the right things. Right. Now, if I had a friend that was that line walker, I don't know that she would really be my friend. She would be an acquaintance. I don't know that we could hang out with each other. Right. So it would just definitely be situational for me.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. So I have a question. Have any of you ever been in a marriage before and you had a best friend of the opposite sex and it caused problems in your marriage?
Well, I that couldn't happen in my marriage just because of who I am and my personality.
Right.
I have a very, very flirtatious personality, and I'm aware of that. I believe in self-awareness. You know who you are, and that would be a no for me because a few years ago there was a little incident where I had a friend at work, a male friend at work, and he would meet me every day, and we would walk into work, and then one day he wasn't there, and I was like, where is he? You know, and instantly inside of me that was a red flag. Why whoa, where'd that come from, kind of thing. So I went home and talked to my husband about it because I truly believe what's done in the dark will come to the light. So I wanted to tell him before, and no lines were ever crossed. It's just how I felt. This is a me-based situation. So for those reasons, it couldn't happen in my marriage for my personal reasons.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate here. I've been on both sides of the fence with, I've been the best friend of someone, and then I've had my ex-husband to befriend someone at work that didn't turn
Where it gets you.
out. Yeah, didn't turn out favorable. So I'll just say this: my best friend of 30 plus years, we were cool, and a lot of people feel that you can't be friends with a male if you're a female. You know, I've lived it, so I know. I'm not gonna say I beg to differ. I know for a fact that can be done without crossing any lines, no strings attached, a straight relationship that is like brother sister. That's what we had. However, when he got married, I let him in on the front end. The dynamics of our relationship would change because I am a female and I know how we think and I know how our minds work. But also, I let him know that I will always be his friend.
Right.
So the dynamics changed to he calls me when something happens, good or bad. You know, I said those are things you're going to talk to your wife about.
Right.
And so, you know, the dynamics change, but we're still friends to this day. Back it up to my marriage. My ex-husband came home. Hey, this girl at work, you know, she got this going on. I'm like, you better be careful with that.
Yeah.
You know, on the front end. So my woman's intuition kicked in. My God-given gift of discernment kicked in. And I'm like, now you talking about this woman there, hey, who is this woman? And you better lose her. And I'm like, be careful because you never know how things could go. And the short of that story, and unfortunately, he ended up in an extramarital relationship with this woman. Ended up breaking our marriage up. She ended up getting pregnant by him while we were married. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Wow. So you just got to know who you are, who you're dealing with, but be very careful, be mindful. So if you feel that you can be in a friendship with an opposite sex or vice versa, and you trust your person, yes. But if you know that, you know, that ain't gonna
trust yourself.
yeah, if you don't even trust you, don't do it, Miss Seeley, is what I say.
And for me, I do believe that people can be friends with others of the opposite sex. For me, I've had guys as my friend. Of course, I grew up with a bunch of sisters, so of course, normally and naturally, I had guys who were my friend. But I have a question for Katina. You had made mention of your husband, and you had, you know, talked to him about, you know, the female friend. So my question to you is, did you discourage him from that friendship, or did you just let it be because you didn't want to control him?
No. So first of all, you know, things can be controlled, people can't.
Right.
Second of all, yes. I literally, it was a warning because, you know, the first time, it's just like any of us come home, hey, this woman at church, oh yeah, we'll be praying for her, does she need any food, whatever. Second time, yeah. But when it got to be, man, she's going through so much and this, I just listened to her and I'm like, holy bro. So yes, I deterred him and I warned him. But when you up here coaching somebody and you doing all this, then it's turned to a different thing.
Right.
So for me, I felt the shift.
Yeah.
I heard the shift. I heard things he wasn't even saying, is what I'm telling you. So at that point, it got serious for me. And I'm like, hey, you might better, you know, back off from this. And apparently he did not, because the outcome showed that he got entangled and he enjoyed what he was getting into.
Right.
And see, I felt that shift when he wasn't there that day.
You missed him.
Yeah, and it was knowing who I am, and you know, I like to say that I follow God and the principles in the Bible. The Holy Spirit's like, oh, wait a minute, girl. Whoa, you fixing to go somewhere you don't want to go.
And that's what happens.
And you have signs.
That's what happens to us as we're all humans.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
we are beings, so we feel. And so, not to say your husband was lacking on something.
Right,
Not to
exactly.
say my ex-husband was lacking on something in our marriage.
Right.
It's just that if you get too up close and personal
Right.
to someone who's either giving you something you're not used to,
Right.
saying it in a different context, or even with the Captain Save 'em, you know, whatever it is. I've seen it all full circle, and we have to be mindful and careful because a lot of times guys mistake my kindness or my professionalism, or like Chili said, that I'm flirting. Hey, can you put my number in your phone?
Yeah. And the devil will take it and run with it. Right. And if you let him run with it, he gonna run as long as you let him run.
Exactly.
But the Bible says he comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Fletcher of Superior Artisan Wood in Tupelo, Mississippi. We're urban wood producers. So we sawmill lumber for the public, we kiln dry lumber for the public, we retail lumber to makers and artisans. Then we also create finished art pieces out of our shop. In doing this, so we're set up today on a homeowner's place, and if it weren't for folks like us doing this type of work, then this tree here would probably have found itself in a landfill due to traditional removal and disposal practices. So in doing this, we realized that there's a problem, but the good news is there's a solution. So every year in the United States, there are nearly 4 billion board feet of potential lumber products that are simply discarded annually. A board foot by definition is something that's 1 inch thick, 12 inches wide, and 12 inches long. So our mission is to do our part in what we can to be good stewards of our land and utilize as much of this resource as we can.
I tried, but I couldn't control him.
Right. And that was the reason why I asked that question, because if y'all are familiar with the show Married to Medicine, that was like a situation in their marriage. They had the best friend. And even both husband and wife was close to the best friend. But the situation was, eventually, Cecil, he had Simone, where the wife wanted him to let the best friend go, and it almost ended their marriage. He couldn't understand why she wanted him to let the friendship go, because she was close to everybody in their family.
Right.
But what happened was, one day when she called, needed her tire change, he moved too quick.
Oh yeah.
The wife saw it, which she knew, you don't do stuff around the house that I be wanting
When
you to
I
do
speak.
for me. Exactly. But yet here's this outside woman calling, wanting you to do something, and you getting up and running real quick.
Right.
And so therefore, she was like, okay, we got to cut this off before it goes further
Yes.
than what it needs to go. So that's the reason why I was asking,
absolutely.
did you say something? Because with you came home because you knew something wasn't right,
Yes.
and you said something, y'all worked it out,
Yes.
and you was able to dead it.
Right.
So that was the reason why I had asked that question, because I do think in marriages it can work
Absolutely.
if couples can be honest on the front end, but a lot of couples hold stuff in, and we got to realize, like you said earlier, we are human. Stuff gonna happen, even in marriages, because the devil is gonna try to kill, steal, and
Yes.
destroy. And even when you have unnatural feelings,
Right.
you got to be able to be honest.
So I had to ask that question because I have a guy best friend, and we are very, very close, and I would be so scared to meet a man one day and he decide he wants to marry me, but he's jealous of my best friend that comes with me. Now, I'm not saying that I would let him interfere in our relationship, but I definitely wouldn't want to be with a man where he didn't even trust me enough to have a friend, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a girl's girl. I get along with guys better than I get along with girls. So I don't know if I would let that be a problem in my marriage if I was to ever get married. But I definitely wouldn't want to cut off my best guy friend just because my partner isn't okay with it, just, insecure.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And if you come across that partner, he's not your guy.
He's not married.
And you'll set boundaries, and you'll have that conversation, I believe. Yeah. A healthy relationship has conversations.
Even tough one.
Well, ladies, We've talked it all out today, and we thank y'all for watching. Let's be real.